We are all familiar with them at the latest, since the discussion about Nord Stream 2 pipelines. These invisible marvels of technology keep global civilization running every day with billions of tons of gas and oil, but most of us know little about the vast network of international pipelines. In this video, we take you into the exciting underground world of long-distance pipelines, travel along the world's most important pipelines, and reveal exciting knowledge about the giant pipes. 30 times around the world, the network of global pipelines. Global energy consumption has almost tripled in the last 50 years, while industry and private consumers still allowed themselves 63,000 terawatt-hours in 1969. Consumption in 2019 already amounts to an incredible 173,000 terawatt-hours. Despite all the progress made in the sustainable energy sector, fossil fuels still account for around 80% of primary energy consumption today, with oil and gas making up more than half of it. In other words, without oil and gas, modern civilization would grind to a halt. Pipelines have been used since the end of the 19th century to transport the huge quantities of oil and gas produced, because long-distance pipelines offer huge long-term cost advantages over transport by tanker trucks and ships. The scale of the invisible network of pipes across our globe is colossal. According to the California-based NGO Global Energy Monitor, at least 2,381 oil and gas pipelines were in operation at the end of 2020, spanning a total length of 1.18 million kilometers, the equivalent of nearly 30 equatorial lengths. The pipeline network is so extensive that today we only know the exact route and year of commissioning of about 520 of those 2,000-plus pipelines. The longest pipes stretch over thousands of kilometers. The record is held by the West East Gas Pipeline, which runs inside China and whose 4 strands reach an incredible total length of almost 19,000 kilometers. Around 200,000 kilometers of additional pipelines are currently being planned worldwide, which shows that oil and gas will continue to play a major role in the future. Gas and oil pipelines, the key differences. Pipelines are used to transport a wide variety of substances, such as slurries, water, and even beer. But oil and gas pipelines play by far the most important role in the global network. These two types differ from each other in important characteristics: temperature, pressure, and flow velocity. For example, the viscous crude oil must be heated to temperatures of 70 degrees Celsius to keep it from clogging the pipeline and flowing through the pipeline at a walking speed of 5 to 7 kilometers per hour. The viscous liquid only keeps moving because pumps are installed along the pipeline to build up pressure. The pressure in gas pipelines is significantly higher because the flowing medium is strongly compacted by compressors. The flow velocity typically amounts to 30 kilometers per hour. An important characteristic of gas pipelines is their high storage capacity, because enormous quantities of natural gas can be stored within the pipeline under high pressure. If a leak occurs, the effects are also different. While a damaged oil pipeline can have disastrous effects on its environment, in the case of the gas pipeline, a more targeted limitation of the damage is possible with the help of sectional valve chambers. How is a pipeline built? Building a pipeline is an expensive undertaking. The infamous Nord Stream 2 long-distance gas pipeline through the Baltic Sea alone cost almost 10 billion euros, which equates to an investment of around 8 million euros per kilometer over a total length of 1,230 kilometers. How do such exorbitant costs arise? In the case of an offshore pipeline, the individual pipe sections have to be welded together on special ships and then suspended down to the seabed. To ensure that the long-distance pipelines remain stable on the ocean floor, additional weighting with thick layers of concrete or steel is required. On land, construction is no piece of cake either. Before the pipeline can be laid and joined together at its usual depth of 1 to 2 meters below ground, a lengthy process of digging trenches is required. But the hard work is worth it. Entire economies such as Russia, the USA, and Saudi Arabia depend on pipelines to function. Oil and gas. Which countries are the world's import and export champions? Note, all data from Statista. In 2020, the statistics speak a clear language. With a massive 334.5 million tons, the monarchy under King Salman undoubtedly exported the most oil in the world. Russia is a distant second with 232.4 million tons, followed by Canada, 189.3 million, Iraq, 170.3 million, and the USA, 158.1 million. 5 OPEC members landed on the first 10 places, demonstrating the enormous influence of the cartel. The largest importers of oil are also the largest economies in the world, China with 540 million tons and the USA with 293 million tons. If we look at natural gas, the tide turns. In 2020, Russia is ahead with an unimaginable 233 billion cubic meters, while the USA, 150 billion, comes in second. Surprisingly, Germany still manages sixth place with 78 billion cubic meters. The Federal Republic is much stronger when it comes to importing with gas. With 160 billion cubic meters, Germany takes the top global position in 2020, even ahead of China, Japan, and the USA. This is an enormous dependency that has been the subject of political debate, especially since the Ukraine crisis. View on the world map the most important pipelines of the Earth. At the beginning of the video, we told you that the global pipeline infrastructure is gigantic. Now that you've had a glimpse into the world of oil and gas pipelines, we'd like to take you on a world tour of the most important and impressive pipelines on Earth. 1. Europe. The most spectacular and longest pipeline network in Europe is the Friendship Pipeline. Also known by its Russian name, the Druzhba Pipeline, it was built in the Soviet Union between 1959 and 1964, starting in the major city of Almayevsk in the Autonomous Republic of Tatarstan. From there, the oil pipeline stretches to Belarus, where it runs via a northern branch from Poland to Germany and via a southern branch through Ukraine, Slovakia, and the Czech Republic to Hungary. Operated by the Russian state-owned company Transneft, the Druzhba network reaches an immense total length of 8,900 kilometers. When it comes to gas, the Yamal pipeline plays a prominent role in Europe. Starting on the Yamal Peninsula in Siberia, the 4,196-kilometer pipeline runs through Russia, Belarus, and Poland to Germany, where the Jagal connecting pipeline takes over the Russian natural gas and transports it to the German long-distance gas network. The Yamal pipeline was completed in 1999, but was not able to run at its full capacity of 33 billion cubic meters per year until 2006. A particular difficulty in the early years was the 10-year delay in developing the Yamal natural gas fields, which meant that the pipeline initially had to be supplied with gas from western Siberia. 2. America. One of the most controversial oil pipelines of all time is the North American Keystone Pipeline. It begins in the western Canadian province of Alberta and runs south for nearly 4,000 kilometers to the U.S. state of Oklahoma. Commissioned in 2010, the pipeline has provoked protests from environmentalists since it opened because it transports crude oil, which is extracted from oil sands at great energy expense. The planned Keystone XL extension, which was to stretch from Oklahoma to the Gulf of Mexico, divided political camps. After being halted by U.S. President Barack Obama in 2015, his successor Donald Trump granted permission to continue construction 2 years later, before Joe Biden forced the project's final abandonment in 2021. Americans get their gas from a variety of pipelines, but one of the most gigantic systems is the Rockies Express gas pipeline, which opened in 2009. Running from the Rocky Mountains in Colorado to Ohio, it covers a total of 8 U.S. states and transports 102 million cubic meters of natural gas a day over a distance of 2,700 kilometers. By the way, the diameter of the REX pipeline is about 1 meter, which is a common value in the world of long-distance gas pipelines and oil pipelines. 3. Asia. The East Siberia Pacific Pipeline proves that Russian oil plays a role not only in Europe, but also on the most populous continent on Earth. Ceremoniously opened in 2011 in the presence of Vladimir Putin, it reaches a total length of 4,857 kilometers and supplies China, Japan, and South Korea with crude oil. The project consists of 2 phases. While Phase 1 runs within Russia from Tayshet to Kozmino, Phase 2 stretches between Russia's Skovorodino and China's Daqing. Operated by Transneft and Chinese oil and gas giant PipeChina, the project is primarily aimed at reducing Russian dependence on the European market. The Chinese West-East Gas Pipeline, which transports natural gas from western Lumnan in Xinjiang province to eastern Shanghai, is even more impressive. Along its route, the pipeline, which opened in 2005, divides into 4 sections, covering a total length of more than 18,000 kilometers and transporting an incredible 82 million cubic meters of gas a day. The second section alone required investments of around $20 billion. The project is part of a gigantic infrastructure buildup by the Chinese government, which is expanding the gas pipelines at an equally impressive rate as the road network and the list of Chinese metropolises with millions of inhabitants. 4. Middle East. If we look to the Middle East, Saudi Arabia's East-West pipeline plays an indispensable role. In operation since 1982, it transports crude oil from the Abqaiq oil field in the east of the country to the Red Sea port of Yanbu, which is an important center for shipping the liquid gold. The total length of the pipeline is 1,200 kilometers. Its main purpose is to bypass the Strait of Hormuz to avoid potential threats from rival Iran. In 2019, the East-West pipeline hit the headlines because pumping stations were attacked by drones of Yemeni Houthi rebels, causing fires. Project without a future? Nord Stream 2. And of course, we don't want to deprive you of the most famous of all European gas pipelines, Nord Stream. In 2011, the 1,224-kilometer Nord Stream 1 was open, running from Vyborg in Russia to Lubmin near Greifswald in Germany, and transporting nearly 60 million cubic meters of gas annually. More famously, its successor, Nord Stream 2, provides a pipeline running parallel to the first and was completed in 2021. Because Nord Stream 2 has been put on hold in the wake of the Ukraine crisis, we don't know if gas will ever flow through the nearly €10 billion long-distance pipeline. What is your opinion on this issue? Should Nord Stream 2 be put into operation? And what facts about the international world of pipelines surprised you the most? Feel free to write your thoughts in the comments and give our channel the necessary support with your like so that we can continue to look behind the scenes of current world events with exciting videos in the future.